Hello, my name is Mark. Welcome to my video. This is DeepDive17 Scuba Recovery Roundup, Wrap-Up. Back in the 1950s through the 1970s on the southeast side of Deer Lake, there was an old resort called Haney's Resort. I have a special attachment to this resort in that when I was a child, my father had a cabin up on the hillside up behind this resort, and my family was close friends with the owner family, and I spent every summer of my childhood here. Really, really cool. A great way to grow up. But the resort is long gone, but every piece of treasure that anyone had ever dropped while swimming there by the old boat dock or the swim docks are still there, and waiting for me to come and find them. So yesterday I went out with just my mask, snorkel, camera, my metal detector, little goodie bag, and a little lead weight to keep me neutrally buoyant, and I went ahead and did a shallow snorkeling adventure, finding the objects and stuff that have been buried there for decades. So here we go. This is typical of what you find. Nails and nails and nails. The docks used to be made out of wood, and when they were working on the docks, they'd drop nails overboard, or when the wind blow hard, the nails would work themselves out of the wood and they'd fall. So you find hundreds and hundreds of nails all the time. You also find these pull tabs. They were outlawed in the late 70s. So they've been under there for at least since 1970s. Along with that, I find your typical nuts and bolts and washers. I find brass clips. You can see that they're always broken because that's why they fell in the water. If they didn't break, they didn't fall in. But so every one of these guys that I find is always broken. There are shear pins from props. You know, somebody hits something with their prop and there's a little pin down there that's supposed to break off, as opposed to breaking your transmission on your boat. So that's typical kind of junk. I also find just odds and ends, I would call them. Lots of leaded fish line. You know, years ago they used to put lead in fish lines to help it sink. Lots and lots of that kind of stuff. Pieces of old bungee cords, stainless steel straps, bottle caps. Hey, Bud Light, time for a beer. Little ball bearing there. Screws, pieces of lead weight, just various chunks of, I think this is a part of a belt buckle, I think, but hard to know. It's kind of gone at this point. Pieces of chain. And this, if you're going to do this yourself, this is what you have to be careful about. You can see that I reach down in the gravel very gently to dig out the targets that the metal detector finds, but you have to be careful because you're going to find broken glass down there too, so don't get yourself cut. Other cool things I found, this is a steel tap, I believe, from a toe of a boot or a shoe. You remember those years ago. They used to put these on the shoes to make them last a little longer. So much for the junk. We'll move that away. This is the stuff that you wanted to see. This is why you're here. This is why I do what I do. Lots of very old coins. I'm going to do a close-up just following this of the actual dates so you can see these coins better. But the interesting thing about all of the gear that I find buried under the gravel is that the farther I go east, the older the coins get. It's really interesting. I think that the resort kind of expanded over time before it closed, and so we find coins in the late 70s is about the newest that you find there. And it gets older and older, 1970s, 1960s, 1950s, 1917. And this is the oldest coin I've yet found in the lake. 1903 Indian head penny. Way cool. I like that. I like the dates on these things, give you some idea. But it's really interesting. The farther you go east, closer to where the old store was, the older the artifacts get. Old 12 gauge shotguns, 22 gauge shells, old 410 shotgun shells, lots of lead sinkers, various tools. You saw me bring up that little rat file. There's old, what's left of a pocket knife, and another one of my pride and joys from this dive. This is an old cross pendant, really, really old. It's been down there a long time. I haven't touched it yet. I'm going to clean it up a little bit so you can see it's still encrusted with gravel and green and stuff. But I look under a jeweler's loop and I can see that there's lots and lots of markings here. Very detailed, very detailed. And so I'd like to get that cleaned up and so I can read that and see what that's from. But that's way cool. I love it when I find the jewelry and stuff down there. I found a lot of this kind of stuff with these things that people have lost. So real quick, thank you for watching the video. Again, just after this, I'll do a real quick close-up of each one of these coins so you get to see the dates and their descending ages. Just typical of that dive. I've been diving in that general area now for a couple of years, and still I'm finding all kinds of stuff there. There is so much stuff that's been lost in that gravel that I'll probably spend most of the rest of my life metal detecting in that area and still finding cool items. Anyway, remember, if you like what you see, subscribe. Bye-bye.